Hello, hello, hello. My name is Karita Robert Green, and welcome to the Unwrap Your GIFT podcast, the show where we dance in conversation about all things to do with life, how to find your gifts, and hear stories from inspirational people around the world. You will learn how to celebrate who you truly are, unwrap your gifts, and step into your true, authentic power. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to season 2 of the Unwrap Your Gift podcast. This season is all about legacy. What is your legacy? Thank you to everybody for listening today. I see you, I acknowledge you, and I appreciate you. Today we are joined by the amazing Kaitlin Fritz. Woo-woo. Kaitlin is an award-winning entrepreneur, enterprise educator, and business coach in London. She has been recognized by great British entrepreneurs as a finalist, Google for Startups, Female Founder Residency, 10 Downing Street, amongst others. And in 2021, she was named Forbes 30 Under 30 for Europe. With expertise in entrepreneurship, Kaitlin is not only passionate about building ventures, but also catalyzing founders along the way. She has helped over 650 entrepreneurs globally via workshops, one-to-one business advice, competitions, and acceleration management. She is passionate about sharing her journey on her podcast, Everyday Entrepreneurships. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome, 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 Kaitlin.
Thank you so much. That was quite an intro, but I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I give flowers all the time and I love it. So tell us about your journey so far.
I was someone, if you would have asked me 5, 10 years ago, I would have never, ever expected to be in the entrepreneurship space. It was something that was really foreign to me as a rural American, if you can't tell from my accent. And it wasn't until I moved to the UK where I saw a problem, which was the inaccessibility of arts, and I wanted to create a solution. And I didn't realize, problem solving is really entrepreneurship. So, kind of came at it from an unexpected angle as an art history master's student to move into a cultural education technology business. But that has opened up so many doors, so many learnings, as you probably realize. And it's just been an adventure every step of the way.
Wow, wow. So you moved over from the US to the UK and then you got into the world of entrepreneurship. So how did you find that journey along the way?
It was definitely difficult. I think this was also back in 2018. So, as a female foreign founder, I did not have the networks. I did not know where the events were, where the communities were. So, I definitely felt out of my depths. But what I recognized is the UK really appreciates and values entrepreneurship and innovation. And once you start looking, you realize what an amazing community it is, especially London and the Greater London area.
Wow. So you really experienced some of the challenges. And that's why I always like to ask everybody, like, what challenges did you face? Because we see all the glitz and glamour online on social media of people just having some of the highlights, but it is a journey, especially as you mentioned, sometimes it's harder to tap in to certain networks and see some of the opportunities. How did you find navigating those situations?
It was definitely trial and error. So to put it an example, I couldn't even get the right word for sweater or jumper when I came over. So, nonetheless, trying to understand the startup lingo, that was a completely different beast. But I really found mentorship to be hugely, hugely important. Getting in with networks of fellow female founders, individuals within my community and the greater community, and also just being open to putting yourself out there, trying new things, joining new communities. The worst someone can say is no. But most people have been incredibly welcoming.
Wow. So that's useful, just taking yourself outside of your comfort zone, putting yourself in networks, surrounding yourself with like-minded people. That's really helped you along the way. So I mentioned before in your bio a bit about what you do, but would you like to share more about what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so once again, I love being an entrepreneur, but I think love more supporting other entrepreneurs throughout their journey. So I work as a startup consultant working with various accelerators as well as small businesses around the world to really build, grow, and scale their businesses with impact, whether that's through mentoring, workshops, or personalized programs. That is what I am doing, and I love meeting all the various, flavors of entrepreneurships, all the people from various corners of the world solving real world problems. So it's a very exciting space to be in.
Amazing, amazing. And the startup community, how would you say it is right now in the world, in UK especially, because that's where you're working?
I think we have this new kind of invigoration. I think with COVID, it was very difficult. Economically here in the UK, people got laid off. We're in a cost of living crisis now, but it's allowed people to see, like you mentioned, like their gifts and how they can use them in other arenas that maybe aren't the traditional corporate setting. So I've seen a lot more people dabble in side hustles, starting up businesses, especially ones with a social or environmental impact. And to me, that is just so exciting to see that people are taking that grassroots change.
So there's a lot of innovation that's coming up, and people just using their gifts, as you say, to start side hustles, be creative, maybe moving away from the traditional corporate structures that used to exist and saying, "Hey, I've seen you do it. I want to do it too."
Absolutely. I think with more representation, and I think as more people are being open about their gifts, their side hustles, their projects, their startups, it's really empowering.
Yeah, amazing. Now, for those listeners who are here that you may not know, but I met Kaitlin while she was doing a presentation about pitching. And I must say, to date, it's still the best presentation I've ever seen in my life. The way that you taught about pitching and how to sell yourself in a sense, it just inspired me. So, would you like to share more about pitching and the importance of that as an entrepreneur, especially as a startup entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think pitching and communication are two of the most underrated soft skills for entrepreneurs and individuals in general. We're always kind of selling ourselves, our talents, whether that's in the corporate setting for a raise or in the startup for funding. Um, and I think it's critical to recognize in a world today that's so crowded and flooded with, the TikToks, all this information, you need to be very clear in communicating your values and the benefits you can provide. In the world of startups, I feel like people get, attracted to the latest buzzword or, go down the rabbit hole of listing all their features. But no, it's really solving a problem and the benefits you provide. And I think that simplicity is honestly the hardest part.
Absolutely. And it could be really challenging for people to share what they do if they're in this comparison zone, which I see a lot of the time. Entrepreneurs are comparing themselves to people who are way ahead of their journey and then feeling really small and inferior. But as you said, when people start to think, what is it about me that I can use, that I can celebrate, that I can share, that's when you see people really excelling.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I remember one of the first exercises we did together, because I was one of your mentees, coachees, however you want to call it. I still have the piece of paper across from my desk with those affirmations because I'm telling you, everyone deals with imposter syndrome. It doesn't matter if you're recognized by Forbes or if you're just starting out, everyone deals with it.
Absolutely. You've touched on a really good point, imposter syndrome. If anybody listening or watching has ever had imposter syndrome, really take note that everybody has it. It doesn't matter how big you are.
No, absolutely not.
It doesn't matter how big you are. And you touched on affirmations as a way of believing in yourself and reinforcing that positive mindset. I could do this. I've got evidence to prove why I am good at what I've done. I've got receipts, I say. Show me your receipts. You've done it before, right? And that's important. Celebrating yourself and having that confidence to share what you do with people is important as a startup founder in particular. Wow.
100%, 100%. And I think oftentimes in the startup world, you can kind of distance yourself because maybe your product's under a different name, maybe it is under a company name. So when I work with a lot of service providers as well, it's very different because you are your name, you are your business, you are your service, which I think takes a little extra confidence boost.
Absolutely. It's tipping into personal branding, actually. So personal branding, I don't know, do you do much on personal branding?
I have definitely done work with positioning entrepreneurs as thought leaders because they're doing amazing work. They have all the skills, they have the talents, they have the research or whatever. But it's that leveling up and getting their voice heard, which is stepping out of their comfort zone.
Yes, yes. So what advice or tips would you give to a startup entrepreneur who's just starting up and they want to get started based on your experience and your years and your knowledge? What advice or tips would you give to them?
So one of my favorite things is you can start a business with no budget. I feel like oftentimes, especially when I work with women founders, they think they need to hire a CTO, they need to hire someone to do X, Y, or Z. And I'm telling you, there are so many free resources. I wrote a little ebook on how to do it. Um, and why that's so important is if you can start free, really validate, then when you have the money and the confidence, you are able to build something that is so much more impactful. And I think honestly, sometimes we use various excuses as barriers for us to start. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the skills, I don't have the team around me. But I'm telling you, once you start, you will build that momentum and it just grows and grows and snowballs. And I think the hardest part is that first step.
Absolutely. And you could start a business with no budget. That is brilliant. And what you've just explained, I'm laughing because I hear these reasons all the time. I have no money, I don't have the time. But if you start now with what you've got, better tools along the way become available.
Exactly. And I think if you go in recognizing you're at step one and someone else might be at step 201, you just have to honor where you are on your journey and take it day by day. Everyone was a beginner. Everyone started somewhere. Taylor Swift started in a parking lot. And if she can do it, we can all do it.
Love it. Love it. So this is all about legacy this season. What is your legacy? What would you like to be known for?
I think legacy is really important because, nobody writes on your gravestone 25 years experience at Big Four company. It's really about the people and the lives you touch. And I think for me, if I am able to empower entrepreneurs to really go out and solve the problems of tomorrow today, and that they can create these ripples and waves of impact, then I have lived my life to the fullest and I think I've done my job.
Amazing. Really live their life to their fullest and leave a ripple in the world. Wow. That's so powerful. That is so powerful. What would you say is one of your gifts?
So I think one of them, I mean, I've worked with you, I've had to peel them back. It's like an ogre, you got to peel back the onion. One that I really feel like has stood out to me, especially this past year, has been empathy. Being able to step into an individual's shoes, really understand wholeheartedly what they're going through, what they're feeling, thinking. I think that helps me as a business coach. I think that helps me as an educator. Um, and it also helps me as an entrepreneur to really hone in on what the audience is feeling and thinking. And I think sometimes people think empathy is very, like soft, but it is such a power if you're able to harness it in the correct way.
Absolutely. And people trust you when they have that. They just open up and share.
Exactly, exactly.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So it's been great so far. And I feel like we've touched on some of your journey on how you got into entrepreneurship, why you find it important, what you love to do. So what do you have coming up in the future? What do we have to look out for?
Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, so I guess you're getting an insider scoop, very excitingly. In September, I am launching my Idea to Impact Sprint. So it is a really fun way, free to get your feet wet, try out some entrepreneurship in an e-course format as well as some emails. I really want to, allow that on ramp for individuals around the world who want to try out their idea, try making an impact in a very short amount of time. Um, and obviously in 2024, there's going to be some really exciting things. But I won't spoil too much. I won't spoil too much.
Amazing, amazing. And obviously you got your podcast as well. I've been listening to your podcast. Do you want to talk about your podcast as well?
Yeah. So I started everyday entrepreneurship quite along the basis of where I started. I didn't hear voices like mine. I did not see entrepreneurs going out, caring about the social impact as well as the bottom line. And I wanted to elevate voices from individuals, various backgrounds, business sizes, doing all incredible work that maybe the traditional media overlooks. Um, and we talk about some tips, inspiration, as well as insight from my own experience, as well as entrepreneurs who are doing some really cool things, like turning leftover bread into beer, or changing the way we approach nutrition. I just think those are the stories that I wish I had when I started out.
Yeah, everyday entrepreneurship from normal people making it happen. I love that. I love that. Fantastic. And just before we close, because we're wrapping up soon, what would you say is one of your favorite quotes?
Ooh, I think I don't know the author, so apologies everyone. But I think success is where preparation meets opportunity. I think you have to show up every day. You have to be able to give it your all, embrace your gifts, your talents, and the opportunities will come along. And then opportunity will spark more opportunity. And it's just getting that mindset right. So I really like that one.
Fantastic, fantastic. Chase those opportunities or create them, depending
Hmm.
on how you view it, and just keep going. I love that. Thank you so much, Kaitlin.
No, thank you. I wouldn't be here. This year has been game changing since working with you. I genuinely think got my mind right, got my objectives right, and I appreciate you and all the work you're doing. And, for everyone out there, everyone does have a gift.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you. It's amazing working with you as well. Just watching you shine, I'm like, go, go. Fantastic. So, how can people stay in contact with you?
So absolutely. You can go to my website at kaitlin-fritz.com, Instagram, Kaitlin Fritz, or LinkedIn, whatever platforms you use. And I'm more than happy to talk to anyone about how they can approach entrepreneurship in their lives.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'll drop the links in the show notes as well. So, thank you everybody for listening. Remember to subscribe to our channels, check out Kaitlin as well. And I would love to close with saying, remember, we are all born with a gift, and we all have special skills, talents, and gifts that we can use to be successful. And now's the time to unwrap your gifts. Have an amazing day and see you soon. Bye.